It's Roadster Rumble night tonight, Season 8, Round number 7, live from Imola. As we hit it up for this two-race format, two 30-minute races tonight. Just picking up the end of qualifying now with the top 10 shootout happening underway right now. Qualifying times have been set by a heap of drivers. In fact, about 20 of them have already been out onto the track, but now we see the fastest of our best Roadster Rumble drivers take to the circuit to try and put in their best lap time. And Jack Boyd's out there. Who else have we got tonight? We've got Canto in the top 10, Harrison, Seeger, Jared Philsell back again tonight, Wayne Losh in the house, and plenty more. Hobbo, good to see Hobbo out there as well. There is paint arriving on the car just as we speak. Welcome, my name's Luke. This is RSTVAU TV on your Monday night, and the Roadster Rumble featuring the MX-5s and the 86s doing battle around the home of the San Marino Formula One Grand Prix. Well, back in the day, what a great circuit this was and is. It's going to be interesting in these slower cars. We're used to seeing some pretty rapid cars get around this place. Tonight it's going to be all about carrying speed through the corners and momentum, the key. Who can take the win? Well, you've got to wait and see. Right, this is RSTVAU TV. Make sure you've subscribed and hit that little bell on our brand new YouTube channel, RSTVAU, over on the old YouTube platform. We're also on Twitch tonight, and we are live on Facebook. So g'day to everyone tuning in and watching from wherever the heck you are. G'day. Qualifying on the way down, 7.5 minutes to go. Let's get rid of the music. Let's crank up the sound of these cars, and let's see how we're going for tonight's action. Who you want to see? Well, you let me know, and I'll try and get them on screen for as much as I can. That's what it's all about here. If you're watching to see someone in particular, make a bit of noise. If you make some noise, I'll get you out and, well, spend a bit of time looking at your mates as someone goes for a spin there. Aaron Maguire goes around. Let's have a look at Moz in the 86. We will be talking shortly to Greg, who's standing by in the green room. So we might even just, whilst we're just waiting on a few of these drivers to get their act together and put in a fast lap, let's talk to Greg now. How are you, mate, tonight? Welcome to round number 7, the penultimate round of this season. And we're getting to the pointy end now, and the top boys just hitting the circuit. How are you, mate?
Yeah, not too bad, Luke. Yourself?
All right, yeah, for a Monday night.
Refreshed after your week's holiday?
I wish it was a week's holiday. The only time I'll get a holiday is the day this computer's in the cupboard, mate. But no, feeling good, ready for a big night of racing. This circuit's a challenging circuit to take this repertoire of cars around. Obviously, I was just saying in the intro, we're used to seeing some blistering F1 sort of races around here, but you've got to be a little bit more precise, probably, in these cars to carry as much speed and not get those famous off tracks that this place also has on offer.
Yeah, this track is dynamite for off tracks, and we've been tossed a bit of a curveball tonight. iRacing has the iRacing gods have stepped in, and as I jumped into practice, one of the boys said, "Oh, you do realise that the track temperature is now 44 degrees."
Oh wow, okay. So it's boosted quite a bit.
Well, we normally set it. I turn Dynamic Sky off, and we just normally run a morning session around 19, 20 degrees track temp.
Yep.
But for some reason, iRacing's given us 44 tonight, so yeah, it'll make it interesting.
So the car should move around a fair bit more. That'll be the key.
Yeah. So what I found in practice was first 3 laps is quite good. And then the tyres pretty much go to licorice. So it'll be interesting to see whether any of the boys actually choose to maybe take on tyres in their pit stop. So it sort of throws another bit of a curveball out there for them.
It's a longish lap too. When you say 3 laps and the tyres go licorice, well, it's 2 and a bit minutes around a lap here. So we're going to see only probably a 14 lap, 15 lap race. So yeah, you're going to spend a lot of the race chasing your tail if the tyres do go off that early.
Yeah, especially in the Mazda. I'm not sure about the 86, but in the Mazda, it definitely starts to get a bit slippery after about the 3rd lap. So, yeah, interesting times ahead.
Halfway point of the top 10 shootout now, 4.5 minutes to go, and it's Jack Boyd on top. So Boyd, Hobson, Harrison, your top 3. Still yet to see a real competitive time from Philsell, Canto, and Moroz, who are out there as well. Are you racing tonight, Greg, or is that a ban still imposed? I did read a little bit about that. I saw that on the interwebs.
Yeah, so I might have transgressed during our official practice, but as any good race team will tell you, a la AAA. I have lodged a protest, and so I'm actually racing tonight under protest.
Oh,
but I am starting rear of grid.
There you go. That'll be interesting. Well, good luck with that fight from the back. We've got a few others, obviously, once again giving us access to web cameras, which is great, and good to see you again, mate, on the picture. There's a couple of the other drivers standing by, and good to see. We've got Damien there, we've got Darren, and oh, there we go. Graham's also giving us a wave, so good to see you guys all getting set for some racing. So what's the plan? We've got one more race after this, obviously, and then a bit of an off-season before you do it again. People can still get involved too.
Yeah, so what I'm sort of thinking at this stage, I haven't officially given you the latest, but I'm sort of thinking with April being a bit of a mixed up month, we might actually have a bit of an unofficial 4 weeks of racing to give you a bit of a break and let everyone get refreshed. But certainly, if people want to jump in, that's the perfect time to get on board. We'll have 4 weeks of weekly racing, but the opportunity to sort of see how the league runs and get your foot in the door for when we kick off again, probably in early May.
And that's the good thing, the social aspect of this series. If you do want to join up, I think there's a link to Facebook in the description of the video. Go check it out, join up, get involved with some of the practice sessions, and then get out there and race. It's a heck of a lot of fun, and loving this multi-class, well, multi-category here with obviously the 86 just with the edge, it seems. I'm just having a look at the fastest MX5 time at 2:06.2 versus a 2:03.5, so about 3 seconds, just under 3 seconds of difference between the two cars at this circuit. We've seen it up and down, haven't we, across different circuits. Sometimes they're really close, other times it's 3 or 4 seconds.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that just gets down to the Toyota seems to handle pretty much the same at most of the circuits. The Mazda can be a little bit up and down, and look, I'll be honest, we haven't touched either car since the latest big update from iRacing, so tonight's a bit of an unknown. Over a 30-minute race, how things will pan out, but I would expect that there'll probably be quite a few Mazdas sort of moving forward tonight. This is a tough track, and a few of the Toyota boys might need to slow it down if they start racking up the incidents so they don't get a drive through. Yeah,
we're just watching Phil Cell come to the line now. He's going to have to get it done soon. Let's see what he gets. He crosses the line now, and does he post a time? P2, so half a second off Jack Boyd. Jack's put in a ripper lap tonight with the 2:03.2, 2:03.8 then for Phil Cell, and Lee Harrison still holding on to third. Hobson still out on the track, might get this extra lap in here, but he's currently sitting fourth with Canto, your top 5. So great job again, Jack Boyd sitting on top with a minute to go.
Yeah, Jack jumped in yesterday or last night for the official practice, so he's done a few laps, and that's probably paying dividends for him right now.
It's looking good. Hobson's car always looking the part out there as well, and yeah, this is good. So 44 seconds to go in qualifying, then we get underway for what will be a 30-minute first race. Usually we've seen about half of that before we see the first pit stops. I don't know if anyone will try anything different tonight. We're going to have around 13 or 14 86s on top. Just noticing a few of the drivers in the 86s a fair way down, Ray Harrison being one of them, 26th place. You've got Keith Logan down in 18th as well tonight, and others. The top 12 obviously full of 86s, but yeah, look, once again, Tyson Gordon, Jesse Carriage is continuing to do really well up there in the MX5, really showing it to the 86 tail end as well.
Yeah, the sort of cream rises to the top in the Mazdas. So I expect Jesse and Tyson to be sort of right in the mid pack. Anthony Connors does well at this track, so he'll be another one to watch out for.
Very good, righto. Well, that's qualifying run and done. So let's go down and have a look at the grid. Are you going to hang around, mate, or I'll let you jump in?
Yeah, no, I'll hang around. I'm at the back, so I'm just going to look at pinching as many places as I can.
Sweet, let's run through that grid. So off pole position, it is Jack Boyd for race number 1. Jared Philsell will start alongside in P2. Lee Harrison and Brenton Hobson, your second row of the grid. In the third row, Dylan Canto and Glenn Boyd. Damien Seeger starts on the fourth row with Wayne Losh alongside him. Matty Tesseriro starts from 9th place. Cody Harrison rounding out your top 10. It's Moz Moroz and Henry Fenson on the 6th row, down to P12. as we continue to go through the order here. Tyson Gordon starts from 13th with Jesse Carriage alongside Anthony Connors and Billy Martindale, your top 16. Then it's Ant Cuthbertson and Keith Logan down in 18th place on the grid. 19th will be Aaron Maguire, Darren Linus in 20th place. And it's Gogol and Paradiso down in 22nd. Birchnell down in 23rd with Graham Ellis starting alongside him. 24th place on the grid. 25th as we get to the back and get set for a start here with the MX-5s. Let's run through this opening exchange as they get away nicely. A fair bit of smoke in the background. The 86 is already jostling 3 wide in the background. I think it's Seeger who's made up a position early on. Further back though, they're almost 4 wide as they head down towards a big braking zone into this first chicane. You've got to get this right. Don't touch the grass through here or else you're in all sorts. There's a little bit of movement in the back there. I think a couple of cars maybe squabbling over, it's around 10th position I think with Moz, who's just got through on another couple of drivers. So Hobson's dropped back 6 positions off the start. Not sure what's happened to Hobbo there, but he's lost a heap of ground. 7 now, as he also fights here with Cody Harrison, gets him straight back though. So not ideal for Hobbo as we get away on this first lap, but Jack Boyd has got away beautifully. Phil Sell in pursuit, and then Lee Harrison, your top 3, holding the position that they started in. So good job at the front, pretty clean. It was Damien Seeger and Wayne Losh that made up a couple of positions each. Moz made up 2 himself, and Billy Martindale back in P14 makes up a couple and is already challenging the back end of Tyson Gordon. This is for the lead in the MX-5 class. So Tyson Gordon, gee whiz, he's been good. He continues to, start off with form, holds his pole position, P13 outright, first in class, but he's got Billy Martindale who's jumped 2 spots already over Jesse and Anthony Connors, who are 15th and 16th. He's already had those 2 overtaken. I think Linus may have gone around there. He has, so a bit of a spin for Darren, who's one of our webcam drivers tonight. There he is, just rejoining the circuit, and he's going to drop right to the back of the pack. So pretty interesting start to the race there. Can you speak to us, or you're very mixed up in it all here, Greg?
No, I'm right. I'm just... the chicane was a bit like rush hour, but we've made it through there.
Yeah, Scott Baker, I think, went around. You would have seen that now as he gets going again. He was facing the wrong way for a moment there, so pretty busy as it always is, but up the front, Boyd leads Phil Sell by a whisker. The top 4 have broken clear, and Dylan Canto sitting in 4th place there, just watching this unfold. Lap 2 of what I think will be probably 15-lap race. So, yeah, Jack Boyd being pushed along by Phil Sell. That's how close he is. You can actually see the inside of the car. So Phil Sell helping Phil Sell's helping Jack, trying to escape this top 4. If these 2 can break away, you won't catch them. I'm impressed with Lee Harrison. Once again, P3 and keeping up with the leaders. So I'm not sure what happened to Hobson at the start. Dropped all the way back to 9th place now. He's dropped 5, so he's starting to just recover a few of those early positions lost. Here he goes now with a look down the inside, and a nice dive bomb there on Tisseriro. Gets him, and Matty goes around. Matty T's gone straight into the side of Moz and ricochets back onto the circuit. So I think he might have got a little bit excited there as Hobbo went through, and that would have done some front end damage to his car. And let's have a look at Moz, see if we can pick up some side impact damage. There it is, a little bit just behind the front guard. So a bit of a crunch to the side of Moz as well. You'll feel that. You'll feel that in the straight line speed as well. And unfortunately, just one of those racing incidents as we look back further to Martindale, who is that far off the back of P1 in class now. So just half a second he needs to try and close in. Chip away. He's got the big 86 behind him as well. And Keith Logan's up a spot. There's Keith in the background in that beautifully turned out Southern Cross Racing 86 as well. So as I grab a hair off my tongue, that was fun. You could probably hear the way I was speaking there. Not sure what was going on there. The old hairy tongue. But Keith Logan here, the 338 on the march. And, he's got good machinery under him. He should be able to probably at least get up to the back of Connors and possibly Jesse as well, as we see Matty T dropping back 5 spots now, and into the pits comes Moz, I presume, to fix that damage. So a 2:04.0 as Boyd crosses the line, still 2/10 clear of Jared Philsell. The top 4 definitely breaking free now. You can see it's about a 3-second gap between 4th and 5th place. Damien Seeger just doesn't have the pace to run with the top guys. battle here between Fenson and Cody Harrison. Oh, it's on between these two. This is good to watch as they exchange positions again. And it's going to be, I think, yeah, Harrison just stays out in front. Fenson, we're on board with him now, having a little bit of a look. And he's got about a second over Tyson Gordon at the moment too, so he's going pretty well. And let's do a few hellos while we've got a chance here. Henry Fenson saying, fell asleep this afternoon and slept through practice. Going to be careful tonight. Well, he's going all right. He's P10. And I think that little nana nap that he had this afternoon might have done him all the world of good.
This track is brutal, Luke.
Yep. How's the, let's have a quick look to the, we were told by Greg that the track temp would be up. Let's have a quick look where we're at the moment. We're sitting on 44 degrees, 20 degree ambient temperature, so the sun burning its way into that surface tonight. And they'll struggle 2, 3, 4 laps into this race, and the back ends will start moving around. I wonder which is going to be kinder on the tyres, the 86 or the MX-5. The MX-5s generally do move around a fair bit out there.
Yeah, I think the 86 has got a lot more grip to start off with, so that should work in their favour. But the Mazda is a lot better over the curbs.
Yep. So we watch this battle for the lead once again on board with your race leader Jack Boyd, and just watch the way this draft helps Jared Philsell close the margin in. Message there from Curtis Hodges saying, disappointed I can't be racing tonight. Have a good race everyone, especially the optimal racing guys. Oh, sorry, optimal gaming guys. So shout out there from Curtis, who's not with us tonight, but watching, which is fantastic. Always good to have you guys tuning in, even if you can't be here to race. So there you go.
Yeah, one of our admin boys, Mark Foster, is actually on his way to Hawaii, so he's unlucky.
There you go. Well, unlucky or lucky, depending on which way you look at it.
Well, wouldn't you much rather be racing than going to Hawaii? Said no one ever.
Yep. Yep, unless there's a hurricane or something at Hawaii. But other than that, it'd be alright. Looking back further, this is Maguire on the back of Graham Ellis. So Graham, he's up 6 spots tonight, so doing well. We've got him on the webcam as well, so we'll grab him up. The Larry Racing, Larrikin. And he's, chipping forward. You can see probably Keith Logan a little bit further up the road, trying to go with him. He's got Ant Cupperson in 5th place. Will be his next target as far as who he wants to try and get in front of for championship points. And interesting paint design on that front of Graham's car. I'm just trying to look at the way let's have a zoom in and have a look at the headlights here. Almost looks like it's got eyebrows the way he's painted that. It's a very cool little paint job.
Is that Graham Ellis?
Yes.
I might have been responsible for that paint job.
It's very cool. It looks like it's almost 3D, the way that stands up. Very cool. Very nice. So he's up 6 spots into 18th place, and Phil, in fact, let's shout out to Ray Harrison. There's Ray. He's up 5 spots into the top 21 now as well, so he's moving forward. And Greg, got to be pretty happy starting from the back of the grid in your nifty looking MX-5 there, up 7 spots now into 24th and chasing down Scott Baker.
Yeah, Scotty got past at the start of his lap. I got a bit crossed up. It's a handful tonight, I can tell you.
Well, we're going to ride on board for a little bit with you, so we'll jump back into your car and see what you mean. You can actually hear the tyres screaming, and they're under a bit of pressure, these tyres tonight.
Yeah, it's completely different to what I'm used to, that's for sure.
Well, head down. In fact, let's just quickly go to the front because Philsell's off the track. Jared Philsell's either made an error here or got together with someone. We'll see if we can't work out where it's all happened. Here's a replay now. So let's just have a quick look at Jared as he went down into the second chicane. So I think he's just going to get this all. Oh, no, he disappeared, then reappeared, and may have got a bit of a bump, I think, from the 26 car. So Lee Harrison probably didn't see him. He's had some kind of internet failure there. Reappears again right in front of the 26. And that could be the end of Phil Cell because he's slowing right down now, P6. Unfortunately, I wonder if he's got some internet dramas there and that's going to hurt him. Scott Baker's also gone around,
Yeah.
so Scott Baker's dropped back to 26 now. You would have seen that happen, did you? You were just behind him.
Yes.
Oh, we've got two cars in the fence. Sorry to cut you off here, but
Oh.
Graham Ellis is in the wall, and who's with him? I think it might be Maguire. So they've also got together. Let's have a look at that one, see if they made contact prior to making contact with the fence. But something's going on here for Aaron Maguire. Let's have a look at that one first of all. So replay. Maguire comes down now. We're just going to see Ellis lost the back end. Maguire nowhere to go, and a whammo straight into him. So unfortunately, that's one of those incidents you just can't avoid, and it's cost both drivers dearly. So pressure's taken off. Boyd now in front. He's got a 1.5 second gap. Back to Lee Harrison and Dylan Canto, your top three. Hobbo's just hovering around that P4 position, stuck back there with Glenn Boyd, and then Phil Cell, who's dropped back behind Boyd now. I'm not sure the drama. He looks like he's back up to full racing pace now, but he's going to have a little bit of work to do if he wants to try and claw back up towards the top three finish. The last thing we need is Jared Phil Cell to finish in 8th, though. With an inverted top 8 second race, you'd never see him again. So, big circuit. What's the, Greg, if you can talk while you're racing, next season out, you got plans for some smaller tracks, or Tsukuba's one you guys don't seem to go to? I'm not sure if you've been there at all with me broadcasting. I'm just trying to think back.
No.
I reckon that would be a ripper track in this combo of cars.
There's quite a few tracks actually that I've sort of been looking. Saturday night I jumped in to another league with a couple of the admin boys, and we did a race at the new Jerez track.
Oh yeah, yep. How's that?
That's definitely one on the radar.
I'd love to see it. I know. So the circuit's obviously fun to drive in. I mean, I know it from MotoGP. Obviously, I don't think I've ever seen a car go around there.
So it has two layouts. It's actually got the MotoGP layout, but it's also claims to be a Grand Prix layout. So I'm not sure what that's all about, but
yeah, it's a good flowing track. So yeah, I can't wait to see that on here.
Yeah, it's quite wide too, which is good.
Definitely good when these guys like to go 4 wide.
We've been having a bit of a play with the new Formula Ford.
Oh yeah, yep.
And that is a really nice car to drive compared to the Skippy and the Formula V.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. And whilst we turn our attention back here to the battle for 4th place, it's Phil Cell and Hobson. So I wouldn't think we'd be talking about that battle 10 minutes ago, but we are. And Phil Cell still looks like he's got full pace in the car now. He's, I think, just did the quickest lap of the race, 2:03.1. So turn the wick up. That's 7/10 quicker than your race leader on the last lap, and it's about 4/10 quicker than Harrison's done in P2 as well. So Phil Cell will try and get back, but 6.2 seconds the gap to the lead. He'll maybe get a third at best. He may be able to reel in Canto if he can keep that speed up, because it was about a second and a half quicker than Canto on the previous lap. There is Dylan, who is all out of shape once again, and that's where you can get an off-track, all 4 wheels off the circuit there. Let's hear if he's having to slow down there. I think he got away with that, but iRacing loves to ping you at this circuit.
It certainly does. The other interesting thing tonight, Luke, will be there's a new feature that came out with the latest update, the auto refuel.
Right, yes, we talked about that last time.
Yeah, and I'm not really sure whether I trust it yet.
Yep.
So I'm just curious as to whether the boys sort of go with the auto refuel or stick with the traditional way of putting the fuel in.
Yeah, well, it's obviously if you hate having to think on the fly, it's probably going to be a great thing if it's reliable. But if you,
Yeah.
it does take one aspect away from you though as well, which a lot of guys do like that strategic side of it, having to work out what fuel to put in, and when you get it wrong, you kick yourself. When you get it right, it's amazing. So, yeah, look, it's an
Yeah.
interesting. I'm actually sort of a little bit surprised that iRacing would enter that feature into this. So, I mean, they always lend it being as realistic as possible. To me, that's sort of I guess they're saying it's a team principal or a data guy in the pits that would do that. So why not be able to just press a button and have that guy do it virtually?
I think, yeah, the biggest thing is I don't know that you can turn it off either, which is a bit of a nuisance. So you're right. I mean, to me, I'd much rather have to guess what we're doing.
Yeah.
Man, this has got to be the longest pit lane in history.
Yeah, it's a long exit as well, and then you've got the big run. Obviously, cars are at full steam as they pass you in the pits.
Yep.
So a couple of cars have come in for fuel. You're in there now, Greg. I'm just watching the leaders. They're yet to stop. Just coming down onto back part of the circuit now. This is Jack Boyd, still leads this one. Behind him you can see Harrison and Phil Sells just got past Canto now. I said he's going to reel him in. Well, I didn't think he'd do it that quickly. So he's now 5.4 seconds off the lead. Can he do some sort of magical short stop here and get himself a couple of seconds closer to the top two? That might even help him. But, look, you think he's out and he's back to a P3 podium. So you can't hold this bloke down.
No. There's a reason he's won so many championships.
Yeah, and there's Hobbo too, just stealing a draft here off Dylan Canto. P4, so one of the MX-5s does a lovely job to get out of the way. Some nice driving there. And here goes Hobbo to have a look down the inside on Canto. Big sand under brakes. He's good on the brakes, Hobbo. If you haven't seen Hobbo's Twitch, go and check him out, Hobbo88. He's a great streamer and loves his racing, and once again shows he's got good racecraft to back it up as well with that beautiful overtake. P4 now, so good job. Celebrating our 660th broadcast tonight. I cannot believe that figure. What the hell? As I typed that in tonight, I said, what the hell? How? Anyway, 660.
That's a lot of time.
That's a lot of time. That's a lot of sitting at this computer. But yeah, it's good. It's good to the second last round of this series. Obviously, it's a big week here. We got 3 broadcasts this week, which is a big week for me. I'm a retired old man now. But yeah, tomorrow night F3A, and then we kick off a brand new season with the Pro Invitational on Wednesday for them doing production. So yeah, look, it's a big week. It's a lot going on in sim racing, and it's great to hear some feedback. People saying that the new build is great, the new cars feel great. I think iRacing's in the right direction. Still waiting for rain. I think rain will be an aspect of this, that will come onto its own in this series. I can't wait for that sort of changeable condition to throw another spanner in the works.
Yeah, I'm surprised it's sort of taken them so long to get there. But one thing we do notice with every update is the tyre models are constantly changing.
And in a better way, you're saying?
No, they get a bit...
Or just changing?
Get a bit slippery, so I assume that's all based on, the rain aspect coming out at some point.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, the understanding you need to have in the software to be able to replicate rain is pretty huge. So obviously there's a lot of work going on in the background to get that right. And I think a few other games or sims out there have done a pretty good job. Even Project Cars, R Factor 2, they do a pretty good job with simulating rain. They have done for a long time. So it will be, when iRacing finally do launch it, it's going to be one to sort of compare and say, right, you've waited this long. And I think that's probably a lot of the waiting factors. There's quite a bit of pressure on for it to be really good.
Yeah. They certainly can't afford to get it wrong because they've got such a big audience.
Yep. Lots of cars in the pits right now too, as we just see a flurry of action on the exit there. That was Damien Seeger, I think, flying through at full speed. Gets ahead of Glenn Boyd, and Harrison drops back. Fenson's up into 11th now. Matty T, after that crash at the start, goes to P12. He's also moving his way forward in the race. And I just wanted to do a shout out to yourself, Greg. I just looked down there and I saw who's got the most gains made tonight. Well, you do, on 10. So up into 21st now. I always tend to look for who makes the most positions up, and yours truly now up 12, as that pit stop seems to have worked in your favour.
I'll take it.
So lap 10 of 30, 9.5 minutes still to go in this first race of the night. And Jared Filsell leads, has not stopped though, so we'll keep an eye on that. I'm still pretty sure our strategy, as Filsell comes in and Hobson comes in behind him, so the teammates are in the pits. Dylan Canto's in as well. We'll keep an eye out for Boyd, who's just coming down the hill at the back end of the circuit now. Can he get himself ahead of them? I'd say he will, but we'll watch Jared. He's just about to go into his pit box now. He's generally very good at this. Stops on his marks, gets it right, doesn't take tyres. He gets right up on the revs. Where is Boyd? Here he comes, down the pit lane. He's going to be in front. The question will be by how much. And does Hobson, who's had a pretty clean start to this race, where does Hobson end up? There is Hobbo and Filsell just leaving the pits now. So the margin's not as great as I thought it would be, although at full speed you can see what a difference that makes. They come out obviously side by side out of the pit lane, but by the end of the straightaway, it's a 3.5 second gap. So that's where speed down the pit straight versus trundling off that pit lane speed limiter shows a massive difference. So another good drive by Lee Harrison. He's kept his nose pretty clean here in the Pro Karts race centre entry. He'll be looking in his mirrors though. He's already had Filsell sneak up behind him once, and Jared's closing in very quickly now, just with that gap under 2 seconds. Oh, and he's wide too. So that's those sort of little errors that creep in to your driving. You probably lost 2 or 3 tenths there just by getting sideways over the ripple strip. And when you got that white car chasing you down, it's you don't want to make those errors.
No, it's the Mazda's certainly a handful at the moment. She's very slippery.
We're seeing all the cars dance around, even the top ones. Hobbo was sideways then off the chicane as well. We're watching you now, Greg, and keeping that back end nice and secure underneath you. As soon as you slide it up, obviously it does one thing, you lose time, but you also make the problem worse. The tyres just get hotter and hotter. No live data on the tyre temps, but you can just imagine they're going through the roof.
Yeah, it's really down to just braking and getting the car settled before you try and turn.
Good little battle this one. There's 5 or so cars here with about a second and a half covering them. So Moz in P6 has Wayne Losh behind him. Then Glenn Boyd is next in the queue. Then Seeger and Cody Harrison following along nicely together. So this is all for, P5 basically, or P6 and on. And with just on 6 minutes to go, around 3 laps to go, this will be a tasty little battle towards the end. Cody Harrison can see up in front as we get too wide here between Losh and Moz. And goes through, and that's a Moz move, the new Moz move there. P6 ahead of Loshy and Melissa Jack Boyd, but Glenn Boyd in behind, just being quite watchful. I love that livery on the Boyd car, looks fantastic as he tucks under the wing of Wayne Losh up the hill. Opportunity to overtake at the top of this hill. It's this tricky one because the feels very off camber at the top of the hill. And these cars, especially probably the front end, wants to wash away, then they get that snap oversteer as well. But they all stay line astern. Next opportunity probably at the chicane. Boyd not really close enough. He went super wide through there. But yeah, like I say, good little battle between these 5 or so cars for P6 in this race with 5 minutes to go. Out in front, still Jack Boyd leading about half a second. I wonder if Lee Harrison's got a little bit here for him. He's close. Oh, there's almost some contact in the background there between Seeger and Harrison. Cody Harrison, that is, in the Pro Karts race centre car. Obviously his teammate Lee up in front, but this is some side-by-side action. Who's going to yield on this one? Seeger says no way Jose, and he goes down the inside and keeps position at the moment. P9 for him as the new fastest lap of the race, Jared Filsell. It's not over yet. Filsell's now within a second of the race lead. So it was 6.5 seconds at the pit stop. Sorry, it was 3.5 seconds at the pit stop. Now it's down to 9/10 of a second with 2, maybe 3 to go here. Jared Filsell could still win this race. So if you're new to watching this series, you can see the Group A on the back of the cars. The Group A drivers are in the 86s, and we haven't spoken too much about this guy tonight, but he's leading Class B. Jesse Carriage, once again, a great drive in the MX-5, the Mazda, ahead of Anthony Connors and Tyson Gordon, your top 3. So Gordon, who came out of the blocks leading Class B tonight, has dropped a couple of positions, and I don't think he'll be able to impact the back of Connors, who's about 5 seconds away. Another good drive by Billy Martindale. Oh, just I said that. Was that Billy Martindale in the wall? It was. So yep. I was about to say Billy Martindale, good drive again. He's just stuffed it in the fence, which helps you, Greg Nalby, 18th place, up 13. Thank you very much, you say, as you go past him.
I'll take that.
have I ever asked you why number 13? I mean, to a lot of people, it's a very unlucky number.
Because I'm one of those unfortunate people that has a birthday on the 13th.
Ah.
So, the good old Friday the 13th. So, yeah, I just figured that if you're going to have bad luck, you may as well have it on your cars as well.
Mate, you should just put a ladder open above your sim, put a black cat sitting next to you in the sim, and, yep. And be done with it.
Some nights it feels like that, I can tell you.
Well, I tell you what, good battle at the front now, because Boyd and Filsell are back together. After all that, there's 2 tenths between the top 2. Harrison's still there, but he was easy pickings once Filsell rallied up onto the back of him. But we're going to see this classic Boyd and Filsell battle towards the end. It's almost like Hobbo. It was always Hobbo and Boyd last season. This season, Hobbo just a little bit further back. Can't really seem to match the pace of these couple at the front. But he's sitting in his own, 4th place there for Brenton Hobson. But Jack Boyd is going to do everything in his power to try and hang on to this one. And trust me, he'll do his best. We'll get one more lap, I think. Looking at that countdown time, a minute 20 to go. Pretty sure we're going to get one more full lap around this circuit. So that'll be good for Filsell, and very nerve-wracking for young Jack Boyd, who's going to try and put up with another couple of minutes of his heart rate probably being through the roof. So we look backwards. There's the gap on your screen between your race leader Jack Boyd and Jared Filsell, with 1 to go. The white flag will wave as they head down across the start finish line. Lap car getting out of the way nicely, and we will start lap 15. So who's going to win it? We'll know in a lapse time. Further back in the pack too. Good shout out to Moz. Moz has driven well up in 6th place. And, well, we're about to see a challenge for the lead. Boyd just puts that car in the middle of the racetrack. Phil still nowhere to go. Stays in P2. They got good pace this year. They're actually pulling away from Harrison now. Harrison is 3 seconds in front of Hobbo, so no risk there of losing his P3. He may just be best just to sit back and watch this unfold. Out in front, maybe the Bradbury might come into effect here, but two very good competitors going toe-to-toe on this last lap of the race. Boyd, was that Mark Daloff again? I think it might have been. Boyd, can he hang on? Which way would you bet here with half a lap to go?
My money's on young Jack.
Jack? Yep, well,
yes.
Let's back him, see what he can do.
He needs a few wins.
Yeah, well, he's probably going to come under the most pressure into the chicane. So Phil Sell's right with him now, a couple of metres off his bumper bar as they head up the hill. He keeps it on the track, although Harrison was the wild ride behind. He went all over the place there. He'll lose touch with the leaders. There's also a lap car up ahead. It might be Scott Baker, is it? No, it's not. It's one of the other green cars out there. Through the chicane they go, looking pretty good. They're both out of shape, equally out of shape through there, Boyd and Phil Sell. As we run down, Boyd will just pick up a slight advantage here off the toe of that Mazda. As long as it doesn't impede him in the last couple of corners, he'll be stoked with that, and he's brought that gap out now. And the back marker or the lap car, I should say, gets out of the way beautifully, which will mean Jack Boyd should have a clear run through the final corner. And I think he's got enough margin. It's a long run to the line here, so you've got to be careful when someone's trying to hunt you down. If anyone could do it, it's Phil Sell. The checker flag's going to drop here. And it's a long run, like I said, to the flag, but it's going to be all Jack Boyd who takes the checker flag in race 1 tonight from Jared Philsell. And Lee Harrison takes P3 ahead of Brenton Hobson. Dylan Canto will come home with a well-deserved P5 as well. And Losh, sorry, it's Moz in front of Losh. Moz gets 6th, Wayne Losh gets 7th, and Glenn Boyd. That little battle pack we're watching from any lap there, Boyd finishes 8th. Ahead of Cody Harrison, and Seeger just behind him. That's your top 10. We go back further now to watch the end of the MX-5's 14th outright, but first in class only by 0.8 of a second. It's Jesse Carriagee. He's only got a couple of corners to go, and he's got his teammate rear gunner for him tonight, Anthony Connors. So what a good performance this is by the Lockneck Racing team. They'll be very, very happy with this.
He's trying to sneak another spot here.
As we watch and come to the line, I think they're going to slow down and go for the old photo finish here. They are. So more credit for their team photos. Gee, I'd laugh if Connors went past him. Oh, I tell you what, he has too. Connors is in front. Connors takes the flag ahead of Jesse. Whoa.
Oh, that.
That's interesting. So, I wonder what's going on there.
That's almost race fixing, isn't it? Although, in Jesse's defence, he is a new dad. Him and his partner have just had a baby boy, so maybe he's got a bit of baby brain tonight.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there, but that was interesting because right on the line, he's let his teammate come up beside him for a photo opportunity, and his teammate snuck through. Reminds me of the time I was a kid on a cross-country run, and I said to my mates, I said, look, one of us will get P3, but we'll just chill out and we'll just cross the line together. And with 100 metres to go, I legged it, and I got P3. That's the dirtiest thing I think I've ever done in my life. I feel so bad. But I think that just got done there live on the screen by Anthony Connors. Anyway, welcome to the booth, Jared Philsell and Brenton Hobson. Mate, what's it like out there? I think, Philsell, we saw you drop back. Was it a bit of a slide or a bit of, I don't know, you disappeared for a moment, you reappeared, got a bit of a bump. What happened there?
Yeah, my sim alt-tabbed on me, so I was stuck to a single monitor. So yeah, I had arms and legs going everywhere for a little bit there.
So the sim alt-tabbed?
Yeah, something popped up in the background and put it back to one screen, which was a bit weird.
Yeah, well, that's not fun, but you recovered well, mate. I think you had a 3.5 second gap to the leader when you came out of the pits, and you pegged him back to a couple of tenths by the end. What were the tyres like tonight? Because everything I'm hearing from Greg and others is that they're like jelly.
Yeah, underfilled the car slightly, just so I could get to the guys, and then I saved fuel for a lap, and then I was good to go. Just made a mistake on the last lap behind Jack there. Yeah, this car's very difficult around here. Just doesn't like the curbs, so if you're not on the throttle when you're on the curb, the car seems to do a backflip. So yeah, it's a bit weird. It's more the tires are okay. You just just don't want to overload them at certain points. But it is hot track, so yeah, it's pretty greasy. But yeah, overall the car it's just a bit weird over the curbs if you're not having the right inputs.
And all things considered, mate, P2, it's a good recovery, and it could have been a lot worse, especially with that, when you disappeared, reappeared, that little bump you got could have been the end of your race, and also Lee's as well. So, yeah, good recovery.
I didn't even feel a bump or anything. I think, I got some weird error message in the sim when I passed the start-finish line. So, yeah, didn't even get a contact or anything for it.
Cool.
So, yeah, I had no idea that I was even hit. So,
yeah,
I knew it was close. I tried to stay out of the way.
Yeah, must have been a bit netty, but anyway, net Cody, whatever. Brenton, welcome, man, as well. And, yeah, tough out there tonight. You just couldn't run with the pace of those top guys.
No, I wobbled off at the first corner on the first lap, and I wasn't quick enough to catch back up. I'll completely disagree with Jared because my tyres were absolutely ruined for the entire race. I don't know what it was. They're not normally like that in this car, but I felt like I was driving on stones. They were, I had no grip at all, so I struggled really bad the whole race, really. But I wouldn't have been able to go with Jared in that anyway. Those guys are quicker than me. So once I was out of the draft, that was it. She was all she wrote.
I might have got the check cleared today, by the way, Jared. So, Hobbo's tyres won't be much better in the second race.
He doesn't need any help.
Money talks, Hobbo.
Yeah, right, okay.
The 44-degree track temp, obviously a big part of it. And that's, the reason why you're slipping and sliding out there. But we didn't see the incident at turn 1, Brenton. Just tell us what happened, mate, because all we saw was that you were dropping like 7 positions.
I'm not sure. I haven't gone back and looked at the replay, but it just took off on me. So I think I touched the grass with the right side tyres, but I didn't feel like I was that close to the edge. But it's the only thing that would explain it because the thing just shot like a rocket straight away. So I don't know. I tried to avoid going off the track because I didn't want to pick up the off track. I probably would have been better off just blasting straight across the gravel and rejoining at the exit of the chicane and serving the slowdown. Probably would have cost me less time, but. I think that's what happened. Just a rookie mistake. I'm only new at this stuff,
Yeah, you
Nice try.
noobs. No, very good. So thanks for popping in for a chat. We've got about 6 minutes to go. Anything you'll do different in the next race? And obviously, Jared, you block your ears while Brenton's talking, and vice versa.
No. I think there's an invert. There usually is. So
Yep.
I'll be starting in front of them all, and they'll all get past me, and hopefully. Hopefully I can stay out of trouble at the start. It's always a bit interesting with an invert. So we'll try and get through the first couple of laps and not run over anyone or get run over and see where we shake out. As long as I don't drop the leaders again, we'll hopefully be able to roll around with them and be somewhere near it at the end. But it's just a case of getting through the first lap or two when we deal with an invert. So that'll be the main goal, really.
Yeah, well, good luck with that. And Jared, have you got anything for Boyd tonight? He just seems so quick. You spent a lot of laps there pushing him along. Is there maybe a thought of just getting past him at the start and then trying to hold him off?
I was just saving fuel behind him. I didn't want to lead. I had no ambition to punch the hole. But yeah, obviously then my computer had other plans. So yeah, then I had to press on and go as hard as I could without racking up any off tracks. But yeah, we'll see where we end up after this one. I'm just gonna take it easy in the first few, and then we'll run the strategy from there.
Awesome. Well, good luck to you guys, and good luck, Greg, as well. I'm going to take about a 3-minute break now, pour another whiskey, and get set for race number 2. Good luck, boys.
Thanks, mate.
Thanks, Luke.
Thanks, mate.
Cheers. So we'll be back with you shortly. Give us a break. We've got about 4 minutes to go in the warm-up session. Back with you shortly for race number 2. Righto folks, well welcome back for part 2 of the afternoon. Let's go down to your grid. And inverted top 8, it will be Glenn Boyd who will kick it off from pole position. So good luck Glenn, I'm rooting for you. Let's see if you can get yourself a good result here. This is how they will line up: Glenn Boyd and Wayne Losh off the front row. Behind them, Moz starts out of P3 with Dylan Canto next to him. Then it's Brenton Hobson, Lee Harrison and Jared Filser with Jack Boyd rounding out that top 8 invert. Then it's Cody Harrison, Damien Seeger rounding out the 10, Matty T and Keith Logan in 12th position there. Let's get set to go racing for race number 2. And the revs to rise. Watch for the tyre smoke as they get away again, heading down towards this big run. There's your tyre smoke. Good start at the front. Glenn Boyd launched beautifully off the line. Hobson as well, got away well. Jumped a position. I'm trying to see who got swamped off the line there. Dylan Canto it was. Dropped back a few positions. Now he's in the midst of all this battling that's going on. 3 or 4 cars back. Generally we see a few go around at this circuit, but these guys have been so well behaved. Great driving by the whole bunch of them as they wiggle their way through. And out in front it is Glenn Boyd leading, so doing exactly what Jack did in race 1. This time it's the other Boyd. It's Old Man Boyd. You won't mind me saying that, hopefully. Old Man Boyd out in front for Boyd Racing ahead of Wayne Losh and Moz. So credit to those guys. Is under pressure. Hobson puts a move on Moz and gets him. Nice job. But yeah, I was going to say to their credit, Boyd, Losh and Moz up until that point held position off the start, the top 3. So beautiful job as we see Boyd continue to pull away. Jared Filsell just in behind Jack Boyd now, who shows the nose. Jack looking very racy out there as we jump on board with him. He wants to get past Moz as quickly as possible. He's already made up 3 positions from the start. He leaped Filsell, but as we heard Jared say in the break there, he's got no intention to lead this. In fact, he's more than happy just to sit behind. Jack can punch through the air here, get the overtakes done. Filsell will sit behind, and then when all comes out in the wash, in about 28.5 minutes time, he'll try and be right at the front. Welcome back, Greg. Just realised Greg hadn't heard any of that because I was muted. So hello, Greg. Welcome back. Mad start to the race. It's all happening out there.
It is. That was a very hectic start.
And look at this as we see them go into the braking zone here. Jack Boyd in the thick of things. Filsell to the inside of Moz as well, gets through. Harrison's trying to go with him, and he does, and he gets out of shape. Hold the brake there, Harrison. He does as everyone goes through. Beautiful little pirouette and ends up facing in the right direction. You're going to see him any second now. There he is as Greg goes straight past the slow-moving Lee Harrison, who's had an absolute shocker there because that momentum is lost at one of the most crucial parts of the racetrack to keep momentum coming onto the pit straight. And watch out, Scott Baker's putting a move on Greg Holmes here. Baker has a shot down the inside. Greg to his right-hand side. It's going to be the latest of the late breakers. And Greg lets him go on the brakes late. You can see Jesse in the background too, sitting back in 17th, outright 5th in class. But that puts Baker now up into 3rd, a podium position for Class B behind Anthony Connors. Did you jump into the other room and have a listen? Was there any chat about that finish between Connors and his teammate?
Yes, I got the goss.
Yeah.
So Anthony had 0 X's, which is a bonus for the race, and him and Jesse argued all the way to the line about who should take the win. They both believed it should be the other one, and Anthony managed to get across first. So that's the story I was told.
I don't understand arguing for a win when, you know, the guy in front surely deserves to win. Anyways, whoa, hello, turning left there was Wayne Losh. He turned right. The car shot to the left. I'm not sure if that was some sort of failure, but he's regathered himself, but that was an awkward little moment for him. Drops back to 9th. In fact, he'll drop further outside the top 10, I think, as well. But that now elevates Boyd up into 3rd. Filsell on his tail. Hobson, who's in P2. Got a nice little margin here back to Jack Boyd as well. And Hobson at the moment, the meet in a Boyd sandwich with Glenn in front, Jack behind, and then Filsell closely behind Jack. So this is what Hobson said he was going to do. He's going to try and do his best to stay in front of those quick guys, and he's now on the back of Glenn. He may want to try and sneak past Glenn here and lead this race and see if he's got just brute speed to pull away. He's got a great slipstream now, and he's going to probably go down the inside down to for turn 1. Here we go.
Oh, cheeky. Teammates are working well tonight, Luke.
Yeah.
They're both pitted.
Yeah, I saw that. So they're both in early. So is Jesse and, sorry, Lee Harrison's the other one. So the two teammates, Connors and Carriagey, and Harrison goes into the lane as well, as Hobbo did make that move stick. Phil Sell new fastest sector 1. He's starting to turn the wick up here on the back of Jack Boyd. The gap to Hobbo out in front, he's already pulled 0.8 of a second. Like I said, if he's got the pace, the raw pace to pull away from Glenn Boyd, he might be able to create enough of a buffer here when Jack and Phil Sell start to engage Glenn. This might just help Hobbo a little bit. So interesting. Let's watch this one. So you see Jared just filling the wing mirrors there of Jack Boyd, letting him know he's still right there. I'm sure he'll be giving him a bit of braille on the back bumper bar down the next pit straight as well, just to reassure that no, that is not a silhouette in his revision mirror. That is the one and only Jared Phil Sell. So he's close. He's just got to watch this, and obviously he had that sim error. I don't know if you've ever had 3 screens go back to 1 screen. It is one of the worst things to happen when you're racing, other than a Windows update, and when you get the blue screen. But yeah, to have it go back to 1 screen, I'm sure it would have been hell uncomfortable for a couple of moments
Very
there.
difficult, yeah, to readjust, especially in the middle of a race.
Yeah. So here we go. Battle on between the two Boyds here. And Phil Sell gets involved too. We almost go 3 wide. Jack's going to get through. And where's Glenn going to end up? Glenn just lets Jared go through as well, so he doesn't put up too much of a fight. It's now Hobson leading, Jack Boyd second, Jared Phil Sell third, as we go back to the battle of Class B. It's Tyson Gordon leading this one from this man, Scott Baker, who's having a better run in race 2. And then behind him, and very close behind him, is yours truly, Greg Holmes. So you're in a nice position here, mate. P3, but you've got a very fast Aaron Maguire behind you. You get a big swapper coming onto the pit straight, and you put it straight into the lane.
I've got a bit of a tank slapper happening there, so time to get out of the traffic. And
is this the one track, and with the temperature as it is, where you would take tyres? Is that an option at all?
yeah, it would be depending where you are in the field. Obviously, I'm going to try and sneak back out somewhere around Anthony and Jesse, because I was sort of not really getting held up, but felt that I was sort of becoming a bit of a meat in a sandwich.
Yeah.
So I've decided to do something a little bit different.
Well, I like that. I like something different. Doesn't always happen, but someone's having a crack, so good job.
Here comes Anthony and Jesse, so right on cue.
Yeah, they are working well together. Look at that. They carry that speed. It must feel like you're almost, the motor's disconnected when you see them go past you at that sort of speed.
It doesn't. It's very disheartening, but we'll just do a bit of late braking and see if we can make this time back up again.
So they're back down the order. I'm liking this battle too between it's Rupert Borst and Ellis is there as well, Graham Ellis. And Darren Linus, don't forget him, he's up in 21st. He's also part of this little battle. But watch Graham Ellis here attacking the back of the number 28 car. Little MX-5's having a really good scrap down the back of the order.
It's a very competitive category this season, I must say.
Well, it is. And these cars, like I've said a million times, lend to that sort of racing. And you've never got a shortage of battles going on in this series, that's for sure. And a little bit more spread out at a big track like this, as we see someone go off the circuit there. Was that Bard Rodkin? It was. Rodkin just went off the track, rejoins. But yeah, at a big track like this, you're always going to see probably a huge difference in times. But like I said earlier, Hobson, who got out in front, has been able to pull away slightly here. He's got the gap at a second. He's driving the absolute skin off that car right now, and I'd love to see him take a win tonight. He's very deserved, but I think he's going to have, with 21 or so minutes to go, a long way to go in the race. He's going to have at least one major fight on his hands once these guys catch up to him.
I've managed to get on the back of the train now, so maybe I should throw a bit of a spanner in the works. Hey, Luke.
Why is that?
Oh, I might overtake them both.
Do it. Right, we're seeing more movement as someone's off the track there. That was Birchnell, who's just gone around. And here we go. So Holmes on the two Lock Mech Racing team cars, and he gets ahead of them. So nice overtake. That puts you in a good position ahead of them. Once everyone else pits, you'll be right up there for a podium, I think. So, mate, well done. Now you're going to have to try and hold them off, though, and they're going to have each other to work with, and they'll come back at you, no doubt, at the end of this lap.
Oh, I have no doubt whatsoever. They're not the sort of guys that take that sort of move lying down.
No.
But that's what we love about racing in this league.
Back out in front, Hobson still leads by half a second. That gap's come down by half a second on this lap, so it's it won't be long before you see a challenge, I think, between Boyd, Philsell, Glenn Boyd, who's dropped back significantly since he was overtaken. He's now 4 seconds back, unfortunately.
I'm not sure what happened to Lee Harrison, but I just noticed him parked on the side of the road there, so...
Cody Harrison it is, who's off the track, and I think back in the pit lane. I think it's Cody.
I reckon these two guys are laughing to themselves, Luke. I think they think I'm going to cook the tyres.
Yeah, they seem to be formation flying. But they're not catching. You obviously, this is where you overtook them a lap ago. They're not racing back at you. As we see the front bumper bar missing off the front of that Lee Harrison car, so he's in all sorts. I like seeing that damage. So it's good to see iRacing have picked that damage model up a bit, I think, with the update, because that's the first time I've seen a front bar off a car and the bonnet flapping around. That's very good to see.
One of the things they have done with both the, especially with the Toyota and the new Renault Clio, is they've changed the damage model so that you can actually bump draft in them now.
Right. Without getting an X, is that what you're saying?
Yes, yeah. Yeah, it was pretty ticky touchwood before, so they've tidied that up.
Oh, that's good. Because I know it's always a contentious moment when someone does bump draft and then the guy in front gets a 4X, so you hear a bit of expletives on the radio usually at that point.
Oh, yeah. And on the Discord.
Yeah. So, 17 to go here. The top three still battling. We're just looking at some fights further down the track between Birchnell and Logan, as we see a slow car getting out of the way there. This is for, in fact, Keith Logan just got through to 19th, so he's chasing Ray Harrison, who's just in front. And Logan's just got a slowdown there by the looks of that. He's just had to get right out of the throttle. Man, the slowdowns here are killer, aren't they? They absolutely ruin your lap.
They're ridiculous.
It's been a long time since I've done laps around here, but I remember doing a V8 Dev series years ago and just couldn't get my head around the slowdowns. It was just when you think you're back and you're giving all your time back to iRacing, it says, no, give us another second. And just punishing. But, you know, Hobson here is under pressure and holding his own. It's good to see Hobbo 88 and holding his own here against two of the best. And Jack Boyd, once again, just having Phil Sell it's like he's got a box trailer on that 86 all night tonight. Phil Sell's the ultimate box trailer on the back of this Boyd train, just carrying him around and waiting for his moment to shine towards the end of the race. He'll do that well. He'll save fuel. He's a master at doing that, and probably by the time it gets to pit stop phase, he'll have a half a second or a second less fuel he'll need to take on board from this technical driving. So it's a strategic way to drive. It's not always the most exciting way to drive. It's a bit like F1 a couple of years ago, where they would just mosey on around for 30 or 40 laps and then all hell would break loose for another couple of laps. I don't think it's the most exciting racing, but it's strategically pretty darn smart.
Oh, Got a bit of traffic here now.
Shout out to Graham Ellis, he's up 13 spots tonight, and also Billy Martindale up 13. Scott Baker's up 10 to be 10th. A couple of drivers having a good second race tonight, so Baker being one of them. There he is battling with Aaron Maguire. Both these guys have shone well in race 2 tonight. Obviously their Monday night favourite thing to do, come and race in this series, and you can do it as well at home if you're watching, or if you're watching this replay and you want to get involved, go and jump onto the Roadster Rumble Facebook page, come out for a run, get to know a few of the lads, and you can be out there in this mega series fighting each other. It's a very well run series, good competition, very evenly put together cars, and we're seeing Scott Baker now, almost a wheel on the grass there for Aaron Maguire. Gee whiz, he's trying to get around in the long way there. I'm not sure. Reminded me a little bit of George Russell and Bottas, that very corner there, which we saw a huge incident in F1. And I wonder if they had got together, whether or not Baker would have got out of his car and given Aaron Maguire a what's for in the face as well. I don't think so. But anyway, they kept it clean, unlike our Formula One legends who got together there a couple of years ago. So nice job out in front.
Oh, 3 wide.
It's on here. So who's the other car in this battle? Is it John Thorne or is it Jesse Carriage?
Oh, I don't know, but I'm starting to really worry now.
Here we go, live into the braking zone. Oh, and he gets taken out. Greg gets hit from the side, and can you believe it, after all that? Mate, you're 3 wide, you're piggy in the middle, and you've just got absolutely snotted.
Knotted, yep. Yeah, no one was going to give that up.
That's unfortunate. Let's have a look at that on a replay. So, who was the other car in there? Was it Jesse?
Jesse was on my inside, and it must have been John Thorne, because he's just slowed down. And
yeah. Oh, he put a wheel on the grass in the braking zone. Did Thorne, and that's thrown him straight into the side of you. So we'll watch it again from above. Is probably the actually, let's go to this replay. Probably the best option to see it. Go back a bit further. Was John Thorne from above, and just watch the way it's a tough braking zone, this one, because just when you think you're right there, watch this, he just brakes on the grass there, and that sends him straight back in like a bowling ball to the number 13, and whooshka. So unfortunately, that's how quickly it can go from go to woe, mate, in this racing.
Hero to zero.
Hero to zero, go to woe, yeah. But it looked good up to that point. Unlucky for Thorne and unlucky for you because you're the innocent party in that. But it sort of kinks to the left, this racetrack, in that point, and you're not braking in a straight line. And if you're 3 wide like that, if you're the outside car particularly, you've got to make such care that you don't put a wheel on the grass, because it will just fire you straight back onto the racetrack.
Yeah, it's I thought it was a bit ambitious from Jesse, and we have a rule that we call 3's a crowd, and unfortunately that, I'm not going to preempt what the stewards come up with, but yeah, we don't like 3 cars diving into a corner for that very reason. Normally the car in 3rd spot, unless it's a totally clean move, we tend to sort of hold them a little bit responsible, because what we're trying to teach drivers is a little bit of patience.
Yep.
I mean, John was essentially, I don't think John had pitted at that stage, so yeah, he wasn't really in the battle. So it was a little bit ambitious of Jesse to try and sort of do the 2-for-1 deal.
Yeah, there's Damien on the screen now giving us a thumbs up as he's currently sitting in 9th place. Hobson and Jack Boyd come into the pits, so good to see he's on board, and he's fighting here behind Moz. He's had a pretty good race tonight, up 1 position ahead of Loshi and a few others, but yeah, good racing for Damien. WBT racing car, there it is on your screen with that beautiful livery they've got there, Simworx on the side and many other sponsors. So yeah, driving nicely. It looks a handful out there. You can see every time we go to these onboard shots, the wheel work that's being put in tonight is pretty busy, and he's got his work cut out for him as we cross the line with 10 to go. and Maguire and Baker are both in the pits. Glenn Boyd's in the pits too. That releases Jared Philsell out in front. They're going to try the undercut here. Well, they're going to try and come back out ahead of Jared. How much fuel has he saved? That's the big question. And Hobbo, can he stay in front of Jared for the last portion of this race, the last 10 minutes, which effectively is going to be a little sprint race here. Who's going to win? So about 6 laps to go as we come through on lap 10. Ahead of Damien is Moz, like I said, in the green and black and white car. Needs some more sponsors on that car, and he goes cross country. Where's he off to in the 767? That's not how you treat a 767. Straight across the sand trap there. So, and now he's got Glenn Boyd right behind him. This will hinder Glenn Boyd a little bit here because they're in a different strategy, and he's now stuck behind Moz. But let's keep an eye here on Hobbo, and let's see if Jared reacts on this lap. The gap's out to 29 now, so Jared's actually put the pedal down now that he's got this clear air, showing his true pace, and he's going to try and probably sneak around, get in the pits, get the job done, and then lead this one with 9 to go. But it's not over yet by a long shot. It's good to see Hobson in front of Jack Boyd as well. Can he hang on here and a step ahead of him on the podium? Be good to see. Quick shout out to anyone watching tonight on YouTube, Twitch or Facebook. Say good day, and make sure you've given a subscribe on our new YouTube channel, Race Stars or RSTVAU. So it's RSTVAU, and you can catch all our new videos up there as we post live pictures each week from different events and different series. And they cross the line. Philsell does come into the pits, and just as he leaves the lane, let's have a look. They're at full tilt, coming up behind. You can see Hobson. I think he's done enough here. Jared Philsell, he has, and he comes out in front of Hobson and Boyd, so that's a master stroke. He's obviously really light fueled the car. We'll have a look at the data on the fuel stop time here, because that's going to be very, very interesting. So 7 seconds for Philsell as opposed to an 8.4 for Hobbo and a 9.2 for Boyd. So he has short fueled that thing. It's going to be running on the sniff of an oily rag at the end of this race. 8 minutes to go. Could that be his undoing when it comes last lap of the race, and he's got to try and fight off the likes of Hobson and Boyd? He might not have enough juice to do it. A couple of retirements from this race. Dylan Canto and Lee Harrison are both out. Michael Nancaro, he registered tonight. He hasn't raced by the looks of things, so I'm not sure what's happened there.
His USB hub failed, so the PC wouldn't recognise any of the of his USB with your pedals wheel.
Debo.
Yeah, it's always bad when it happens on race night.
Oh, touch wood, that never happens to me. That would be a catastrophe. I have had issues over the years, probably about 500 broadcasts ago, where I had a dodgy USB. But touch wood, those issues never reappear. There's something with, it's a part of sim racing people don't understand as well. You've got to have reliable gear. It's the hardest thing, you know. You can get out there, you can race with an old bomby computer and just an early graphics card, but if it's not reliable, man, it makes it so tough, and you can get heartbreak, you know, these mid-race disconnections or something, you know, towards the end of a race. It can just be absolute heartbreak.
Especially during the warmer months too, because everything runs so hot.
Oh yeah, I know it's freezing here tonight, and I'm in the Southern Highlands here in New South Wales, and I went outside before, and it was about, it must be about 15 degrees. It's got really cold over tonight, and but in my room here, when I walked out to get a drink in the break there, it is steaming in this room. I haven't got the air or the fan on tonight, and I reckon it's about 26 in this room. I won't put the fan on mid-race. I'll leave it now, but. Yeah, it's amazing how much all that heat is coming from. Obviously, I've got 6 or 7 monitors in here, but I've also got this PC with a couple of Cessna-sized fans on the front end of it, pumping out heat. So incredible.
Yeah, I look after air conditioning for my livelihood, and we look after a lot of server rooms.
Yeah, right. Yep.
And and the amount of heat. I mean, it's incredible. We have massive air conditioning keeping them at 22 degrees. The minute they fail, the room will hit 40 within, 15 minutes of having no air conditioning. It's just crazy.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time in obviously music studios over the years too, recording in amp rooms where you have 10 or so amp racks. Incredible amount of heat that would come out of those rooms as well. Obviously air conditioned too, but if the air conditioning ever failed, obviously you had to switch all the amps off and halt recording. So it's amazing. We look these days with LED lighting and stuff, and a lot of heat's been taken away from energy that's produced like light with LEDs, but still even the screens, you feel the back of your monitor. I've got a 49-inch monitor in front of me. I've got a 65-inch on the wall and a couple of 27s and a few others, and there's heat coming out the back of all of these monitors. It's like energy has to give off heat.
It does, and that's the trick, is trying to keep that equipment cool enough to work at optimum performance.
That's right, yeah. I'll tell you, optimum performance is this bloke, Jared Fieldstall, 2.3 seconds out in front. The horse has bolted, ladies and gentlemen. This guy is out of there. And it's going to be a battle, I think, between Hobbo and Boydie for the minor placings here. And Hobbo's looking good. He's throwing that car up on two wheels through the chicane. Jack's working the back of him, but I don't know, I don't like calling him a wily old fox, because I don't think he's that old, Hobbo. I think he's a young bloke. He doesn't look very old, but he's driving this thing with a lot of knowledge, and that's one thing he does have, a lot of knowledge. So we come into the last couple of laps of the race, and further back, Tyson Gordon, fourth in class here, chasing down Jesse Carriage. He'd love to finish on the podium. He's having a crack into the braking zone. It's still Scott Baker who's leading the MX5 class tonight. They're quite compressed. 4 seconds covering the top four in this Class B, which is a little bit closer than we're used to seeing. It's generally one bloke will be 17 seconds out in front of the rest and so forth. But tonight they've stayed pretty compressed, and Cuthbertson's also in this battle not far back. 5 seconds or so off the lead of Class B. And then Anthony Connors, he's just in front of you, isn't he, Greg? So he hasn't had a race like his race one. He's not going to plan.
He had an off a few laps back, and I've managed to close the gap back up to the back of him. So
yeah,
we're running some pretty quick lap times for this stage of the race.
Yeah, well, you guys are in the 206s. The drivers behind you, Linus, in the 207, and there's 11s back there, and more 8s and 9s. So yeah, you guys are ripping it at the moment for P17 and P18. But take nothing away from Scott Baker, who didn't have the best race one. He's bounced back beautifully in this second race.
He's done really well. I was battling with Scott in the early parts of this race, so he's done really well.
And it's not over yet, because Martindale is right on his bumper bar. So Henry Fenton's just gone for an excursion. He goes off the track, and he's got internet issues too, Fenton. He keeps dropping in and out tonight, but it's on between Baker and Martindale. This is for the battle for the win in Class B. And we might see a little upset towards the end here as Jared Fieldstall starts his penultimate lap. 3 seconds clear. So he's just gone, right, this is what I got, boys. Catch me if you can. See you later. And not a mark on that car. He's driving beautifully. Might be in a bit of fuel trouble. So I think that the most excitement we'll see between these top three is him starting to splutter on the final lap of the race. But, I watched his last lap time was a 2:03.5. It was still quicker than the cars behind him. His best tonight is a 2:02.8 in race trim for Jared Fieldstall, which has been closely almost matched, but about a tenth slower Jack Boyd with a 2:02.9. So incredible race pace these guys have got.
They're certainly quick, aren't they?
Yeah. Who's gone around there? Was that Gordon? Where is he? Tyson Gordon has gone very slow and has lost position there. So you'll see him shortly. You can just see him limping up ahead. He's gone for a bit of a lose with a lap or so to go. and we won't get, I think we'll get the white flag. So Jared will have to do another whole lap here with 40 seconds left on the clock. This is where this fueling can be a real nightmare. If he hasn't put enough fuel in this car, he's now got to do another whole trip around this circuit with 30 seconds to go. So it's a minute and a half of extra racing that he wasn't planning to do here. And on top of that, 30 seconds to go, obviously. So, oh man, the gap's still 3.2. It's just insane that he's still being able to pull out a couple of tenths on that lap. What a freak.
Problem is, if you run out of fuel,
Yeah,
no amount of gap is going to be enough.
that is true. So keep an eye on that time. You'll see up on the top left there, it's 3.2 now. What's it going to be in a little while from now is Damien Seeger fighting with Moz. This is a good battle back in P4 as well. So the best of the rest battling off the podium here and having a great scrap, but Seeger gets through. Nice job ahead of Moz and Glenn Boyd just shadowing in the background. But, well, we'll just watch this. The gap's just come under 3 seconds now. Is this the downhill run for Phil Sell? He comes through the top end of the circuit, 2.8. It's going to be Scott Baker still. No, Martindale's ahead. So Martindale gets ahead of Baker with a lap to go in the MX5 class. So could this be a big upset? Billy Martindale, great drive up 16 spots as Baker comes back at him. These two are having a ripping fight against each other. So don't call curtains on that yet. We're still going to see a great win by one of them in this MX5 class. The battle's not over as Baker goes back through into the lead. He's not giving up. He's like a little chihuahua going after the postman, and Billy Martindale goes off the track, slides sideways across the grass, and that'll be curtains. Says everyone watching says, oh my gosh, that beautiful battle, we've just been robbed because Martindale's had a shocker off on the grass, and it's going to be given to Scott Baker. But put your hands together for this bloke through the final couple of corners. 2.5 seconds to lead. Jared Filsell should win it from there. He's just got to head down to the line. The checker flag will drop, and from P7 on the grid, I think it was, he comes across the line and he splutters as he comes across the line too. The car spluttering out of fuel as he crosses the line. Can you time it any better than that? Well, probably not. Jack Boyd gets P2 ahead of Hobson in the end. Hobbo on the podium with the third place. He's also out of fuel, I think. And then it's going to be Seeger who flashes the headlights, gets a P4 ahead of Moz. Glenn Boyd comes home in 6th. Then it's Cody Harrison ahead of Wayne Losh. Keith Logan back into top 9 position. Great job, Keith. Ahead of then your first of the Group B drivers, Scott Baker. Here he comes. Martindale has closed the margin again, though. We'll stay with this little battle into the braking zone. Martindale with a big bomb. He makes contact with Baker. And now what's going to happen here, because the track is sort of blocked, and that's Jesse Carriage going through to the lead. Jesse's going to take the win here of Group B. Can you believe it? Scott Baker is going to be filthy with that one. Wow. So Jesse takes the win in Group B. Scott Baker's been robbed by a big dive bomb there from Billy Martindale. He's going to be marched straight up to the stewards and probably have to take a few swipes of the stick on the hands there. That one was not a good move at all. He'll hang his head in shame, but that's motor racing, and the one that's lost out big time, Scott Baker. He'll be fuming in that car, Scotty Baker. Wow.
Oh, man, that
last 2 corners, I don't know what happened to Tyson, but yeah, that was full on, Luke.
Let's have a look at the replay of Scott Baker and Martindale. He came from a country mile back, and it was never really going to happen. Here it was, into the braking zone. Check this out. Here he goes, down the inside, and bang, contact. Didn't even get past, and then the secondary contact there, but by then it's all over, and there goes Jesse. Says, thank you very much, boys. I'll catch you later. Thanks for the position. So we're run and done. Great job there for our top 3. Jared Filsell winning the race ahead of Jack Boyd and Brenton Hobson. We'll chat to them in a second as soon as they come through, but as soon as the results are made available, which they have just been made available now, let's get them up on your screen. So here it is. The winners of tonight's race, it was 2 seconds in the end. Filsell Boyd as he ran out of fuel at the line, and then Hobson 2.8 back. As we look at Class B, Jesse gets the win and does it in style ahead of Scott Baker, and Anth Cuthbertson ends up getting P3. I think was that a post-race penalty there, possibly for Martindale, who's going to drop back out of that. So good job. We'll wait for some interviews. And did you hear about? Was there a post-race penalty there?
I assume that it would be probably a slowdown that wasn't taken before the line. That would be an iRacing penalty at this stage.
There you go. Righto. So ripper job. We'll go back and have a quick look at the start again whilst we wait for the drivers to come in and say g'day. But yeah, good job. Jared Philsell didn't really look in doubt. He started P6 and raced away from the line. Here it is on your replay. Just watch him from the third row of the grid. And just watch the lack of wheel spin. There's a little bit chirp away, then he gets it hooked up. And from then on, it's a great start by Boyd. Boyd made up a couple of positions, did so well to rip through there. But Jared just chipped away until he got himself the win there after half an hour of racing. So where are they tonight? They're taking there forever to get in here, Greg. Need to crack the whip on this.
Yeah, I don't know where. Oh, that's all right, Luke. If they don't show, I'll just take the win in both classes.
Mate, you can have both trophies. All good.
I might need the points after tonight.
They'll be here soon. I think they're probably just doing their hair and makeup ready for a bit of media.
Yeah.
Here we go. So Hobbo's in the house. So first in, first serve. Brenton Hobson, mate, good job there. P3 in the end. Just sound like you're spluttering on fuel on that last lap.
Yeah, not particularly happy with that tonight. But you're right. I was tight on fuel. I way underfueled the car because I knew I was leading at the start and knew I'd have to have a longer pit stop than the other two. And I short fueled myself expecting them to undercut me. And of course, I came out right between them and Jared was just too far away and Jack was behind me. So I couldn't save anything for the last few laps after the pit stop. So I had nothing. Once I made a little mistake trying to catch Jared, that was it. I was in trouble. So that's all right. It is what it is. P3 is all right. Disappointed. I got a couple off tracks I didn't need to get. So for me, my standards, not particularly pleased with that one tonight. But either way, we survived.
Yeah, it was good watching the fight with yourself and Jack, mate. The cars were very lively, obviously bouncing up off the curves. We're just watching a replay now up on two wheels. Yeah, great to watch. And Jack, P2 in the race, mate. You just got Hobbo at the end there. You had to work for it tonight. Mega start, man. We just watched a replay of that start. You got a great jump. Hello. Is he here?
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
You got me now?
Hello.
Yeah, it was interesting race. I think that was probably the best thing for me. Yeah, apart from that, it was just sort of follow the leader, see what everyone did with fuel. I was sort of put a bit much in again, I think. So, but then again, Jared did run out towards the end. So if we were a bit closer, I think it would have been a better race. But yeah, overall, it's a really tricky track in this car. So yeah, pretty happy to keep it clean in the end, to be honest.
Mate, the start was like something out of Fast and the Furious. You grab that NOS button and you're out of there. So you'll be analysing what you did there and trying to do that every race, I reckon.
Yeah, just full throttle and drop the clutch as quick as I can. So, yeah, I don't know, maybe do some more leg presses or something, just really get that reflexes happening off the clutch pedal. But, yeah, hopefully we can get a few more of those.
Just map it to a button, mate. It's going to be as quick as you can get it. Anyway,
Yeah.
Righto. We don't have Jared with us, so congratulations, Jared. Let's do some thank yous, starting with P3, Brenton Hobson.
Yeah, just the usual thanks to the guys who come and had a run tonight, Jack and Jared. It's good fun, and it's disappointing that Lee wasn't in that fight there in the second race like he was in the first one. It's a good battle, and thanks to Greg and all the team behind the series for putting it all on, and of course yourself for broadcasting it.
Pleasure, mate. We got a date sooner as well in Discord, so don't forget that.
No, I won't forget.
Jack Boyd, P2. Who'd you like to thank, buddy?
Yeah, just the usual. All the admin team. It's a bit of a tricky week this week. Tricky track, bit hard for some of the new guys. So yeah, glad we got through it. I think it was pretty clean for the most part. Quick shout out to Lee. We had a really good race in the first one. Shame he wasn't there for the second, but yeah, good to see him coming on strong at the end of the season. Thanks, guys. Fantastic.
And Jared, on behalf of Jared, thank you. Luke, you do a great job. Thanks, mate. Thanks, Greg, for running the series too.
I like that. Can you do the interviews every week, Luke?
What else would Jared say? He'd say, just cruised out there, saved a bit of fuel, 7-second stop, that was in the ballpark, and from there on I just hosed it home. So thanks, boys. Thanks, everyone, for watching.
knowing Jared, he probably didn't have any screens in the second race.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I think he's not here because he has actually had a technical drama, believe it or not. So he was driving a bit wounded again and somehow still tailed us all. So
Mate. Yeah, rip a job, and no disrespect there, Jared. Legend, and congratulations on the win. Right, as we wrap it up here, we've got to get the top guys from our group B in as well, and Jesse takes the win. I can almost smell the searing smell of burnt, I don't know, brain cells here from Scott Baker, who got taken out of the last corner. We'll come to him in a second, but Jesse, mate, your eyes would have lit up when you saw that car spun around with a couple of corners to go.
Oh, mate, we'll just come down to the Bradbury situation here, and without a doubt, it's what we pulled off tonight. Unlucky that Martindale and Baker had a bit of a tingle in the last corner, but we were there, Anthony and I, ready to pick it up. So unfortunate for those guys, but fortunate for Lockmac Racing. So good one.
Great driving, Scotty. Talk us through the last corner, mate, or the second to last corner. You saw the big dive bomb coming.
I saw it coming, but I was committed to the corner and I couldn't get out of the way. Poor old Billy, oh well, he wanted to have a crack, good on him. But yeah, would have been nice to get a win for Southern Cross Racing, but 'tis what it is. Good work to the blue car again to come home like Bradbury, as he said. Well done. But it was a fun night anyway. Had a good laugh with the boys. So.
Yeah, and Anthony's here too, who got that win in race 1, mate. Tell us what happened right on the line there in race 1. It looked like a bit of to and fro. Couldn't work out who was going to win, and then you took the checker.
Yeah, mate. It was a bit of an argument. It's my last race for the season. I'm not here next week. So Jesse said you could have it, but then I argued with him, and then we kept slowing down, so we couldn't slow down too much. So, yeah, and I got in front by, I don't think it was much at all.
Well, nice job, mate. We'll do a quick thank you, first of all, from Scotty, P2 in class. Who would you like to thank, Scott?
Oh, definitely the admins. This is the best night of the week for me. Don't have to worry about work, can't think about work. So thanks to the admin, thanks to Keith for putting up the car, the Southern Cross Racing, and thank you for the broadcast. You do a fantastic job every week.
Thanks, mate. And then finally tonight, Jesse, who would you like to thank, mate? Great win, a bit of luck involved, but who would you like to thank?
Tonight goes out to Great Northern. They jumped on board to sponsor the car tonight, so just want to shout out to those guys. And also, Damien, Greg, Moz, Loshi, those lads put in a big effort for make the league what it is. So, kudos to everybody on board.
Beautiful. No worries. And finally, Greg, let's close it out. What would you like to say, mate? Rounding out round 7, second last round of the season. We've only got one to go, so obviously a bit of bad luck for you in that race, but all in all, another fun night of racing. And like the guys do say over and over again, it's their favourite night of the week. Mate, take a bow, take some credit for that, because it is a great series.
Yeah, I tonight I'm just going to shout out to everybody. I thought the respect shown on track tonight was exemplary.
Yep.
I've had messages sent to me by the guys that I got tangled up with. I mean, that's racing. As you called it at the time, if you put a wheel on the grass, then you're just a passenger, and everybody else is sort of
bowling
in the
pins.
firing line. Yeah, but look, this series all gets down to I think, as Jesse said, Damien, Seeger, Wayne Losh, they put in countless hours. They're always geeing me up when I get a bit down on everything. So a big shout out to them. Anthony Connors has always been there. He's what I call my pitter. So it's good to have him on board, and especially to you, Luke. I mean, we are absolutely gobsmacked that the effort you put in every week and the broadcast that you put up, it's incredible, and it certainly gets talked about a lot. So whatever you do, mate, you're not retiring.
Thanks, mate. I'll probably die and then I can be retired, but anyway, that sounds very morbid. But no, all good. It is a pleasure to come along here, and thanks for having me. We got a big couple of nights on Race Stars TV, so I've got to love and leave you guys. I've got to go and talk to Mr. Hobson now about a couple of things for another series, which is kicking off in a couple of nights. So it's never over when it's over. But this series tonight is, like I think you wrapped it up there, the class, the respect shown. I don't think I've actually seen any series, and I've broadcast a lot of races from here, that have been able to get through those first couple of S's without a big pile-up. V8 vets, there was always a pile-up here. I've done Formula V races here where there was always a pile-up. I did a Le Mans thing. I did a 24-hour race here for a series that was from Mexico. And half the cars wiped out on the first chicane at this place. And, you know, when you got 24 hours to broadcast, that was the longest day of my life. Half the cars are upside down on the first corner. So credit to all the drivers is what I'm trying to say. To get, you know, that was respect. Everyone got through the first chicane unscathed. Congratulations. Thanks, man.
One final thing, Luke,
Yep.
just to everybody out there in broadcast land, and especially the boys that are on our Facebook page and lurking, jump onto YouTube and subscribe to Luke's channel. Let's get him up there right up the top, because if ever a guy deserves it, I think it's you. So, yeah, all you guys out there that haven't done it yet, I want to see it happen this week. Otherwise, there will be repercussions.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, we're up over 1,000 subscribers. We got punted. We're back to 200, so we'll get there eventually. But thanks for the kind words, and a big thanks to the Roadster Rumble. We'll see you next week for the final round.
Thanks, Luke.
Cheers, guys. Good night.
Bye.
Righto, that's it for tonight, folks. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. What a great series. And if you want to get involved, go click on that Facebook group, join it up, and get out there racing. It's a great community, if nothing else. Even if you're terrible at racing these cars, they will be a fantastic group of people to hang out with and race against. And trust me, you will get good, because they will help you. So well done, Jared Philster, tonight with a win. Until next time, tune in tomorrow night for F3A, powered by Formula Racing Group, for their round 8 clash. And then we've got the first round of the Pro Invitational Series kicking off on Wednesday night, which I'll be doing production and sitting back watching some fantastic V8 supercar racing. So until then, good night.